Nicholas, how are you, my friend?
Good. How are you?
I'm I'm great. You guys have seen the thumbnail. We're here to talk about pretty much, except for the box office at the end. We're basically going to be talking all about the Marvel Hall H panel that happened at Comic-Con that Hannah and I were in the room for. And future editing, Dalton, go ahead and drop the clip.
We give you the one person who could play Victor Von Doom.
Who is it?
New mask.
Oh my god!
Same task. What did I tell you? I like playing complicated characters.
Oh my god!
As you can see, guys, the room went nuts. Hannah and I went absolutely nuts over this announcement. And this may come as a shock to you, Nicholas, but the internet had takes, and I'm sure we will as well. I certainly have a take. I know you have a take. I'm going to let you go first, and then I'll come in just because I feel like that'll be the most interesting dynamic. But
Well, okay.
no, I was just going to say, go.
Are we starting specifically with Downey?
We're jumping right into RDJ, and then
Okay.
after we get these feelings out, we'll do
We'll
the whole
jump
panel.
back.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm very conflicted on it because I think Robert Downey Jr. is a very good actor, an Oscar-winning actor. I think he was a great Iron Man, and I think he could have the potential to play a Doom. But my concern is, right, obviously just coming out the gate. And obviously we don't know where the story's heading, what they're doing, right? I want to know a few things. Is he playing Tony Stark variant of Doctor Doom? Is he just playing a straight up Victor Von Doom and it just happens to be the same actor and that's what we're going with, right? And here's what we also have to remember. Doctor Doom doesn't take off his mask. It's kind of a big part of the character. So is it just Robert Downey Jr. voice work? Because I feel like that would sort of be betraying the character in a sense, right? To have him constantly taking off because you have Robert Downey Jr. Now, that being said, it does provide an interesting dynamic if we're going to be following 616 heroes to have to fight this big bad that looks like Tony Stark Iron Man. I think it's a little confusing, muddling if it is a Tony Stark Iron Man. I don't know. I'm just sort of scattershot on it. It's, they're going back to the Russo brothers directing these movies. They're bringing back RDJ. They literally just brought back Chris Evans in this last one. Now, granted, he wasn't Captain America, you know. So it just begs the question, is it Marvel panicking? Are they course correcting? Is there anything bad about going back to what's been working when things haven't been working? I don't know. It's sort of to me kind of came across as admitting defeat in a way, but still being able to pull off something great because I don't doubt that they have a lot of money. But I also don't doubt that Robert Downey Jr. would confidently just say, no, I'm done, regardless for the amount of money. So I'm mixed and I'm conflicted, but I'm leaning toward skeptical, highly skeptical, negative.
That's fair. I'm more positive than I am negative on it. At the end of the
Okay.
day, I think it's a
Mm-hmm.
good idea. And I know the internet's going to hate me. That's okay. I'm going to explain why. And I'll admit the bias here. I was in the Hall H room. So naturally, I have a sense of excitement about the announcement because of how hype it was. You saw the clip. But I've now slept on it. That's why we waited to record this. I've slept on it. I've thought about it. I am a lot more clear in that I think overall this is a good idea. Now,
Mm-hmm.
with that being said, do I think this reeks of desperation from Marvel? Yes. Do I think, like you said, it's kind of admitting defeat? Yes. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, but yes. Am I sad because I actually really wanted to see how the Kang storyline was going to play out? I'm like one of five people who really wanted to see it. Like, yes, I am. And I don't think that they're just going to, they might just straight up ignore Kang because, as we mentioned, Loki season two ends in a way where if they wanted to, they could just straight up say the threat is gone. And then Ant-Man 3 just becomes this weird ass movie now, which it already kind of was. But anyway, um, the reasons why I think this is a good idea. Let's talk about the Russo brothers part first. They were Marvel and the Russos were both at a similar low point where they were just like, maybe together we'll
Mhm.
both come out of this better because our all of our collaborations have been good. Would I have wanted like a Sam Raimi or like a crazy director? Yes, but I'm also a madman, and sometimes being a madman doesn't make you money. I get it. With Robert Downey Jr. playing Doctor Doom, Robert Downey Jr. has just won an Academy Award. You might be thinking, oh, well, that's good for him, but what does that mean? It means he can literally do whatever he wants. Whatever he wants. As evidence of this, and you guys can look this up yourself, Gus Van Sant won an Oscar for, I believe it was Good Will Hunting. It was around that time. What did Gus Van Sant want to do after he won his Oscar? He said, I'm going to do a shot by shot remake of Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho that nobody wants, but I think it's an interesting filmmaking exercise for me. I want to do a shot for shot remake of Psycho, and Vince Vaughn is going to play Norman Bates. And the entire world was like, are you sure? And he was like, I've just won the Oscar. Yes. And he got the funding and fucking did it. It's horrible, but it's exactly what he wanted to do. And he did it.
Mhm.
Just to emphasize, you can win an Oscar and just fucking do a shot for shot remake of Psycho. Like, that's how powerful when you win that award, like that next thing you do, it's literally whatever you want. So the fact that Robert Downey Jr. wants to do this, as you mentioned, are they paying him a lot of money? Oh,
Mhm.
yes. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that that's not part of it, but he literally can do whatever he wants. And he's choosing to do this. I think that's a good sign that they have a good story.
Mhm.
Kind of being hidden in the story is that Stephen McFeely is also coming back to write the script. That's the person who wrote Captain America 1, 2, 3, Avengers 3, and 4. Him and Marcus was the other writer, but I've seen a couple reports specifically from Jeff Snyder that Marcus had like a huge family emergency where he's not going to be working for like some time. So he
Oh.
can't work on it because he can't, which
Mhm.
is very sad. I hope his family's okay. But I also want to point out that we also mentioned on our last episode that with the Russos coming back, it's going to make it easier for the OGs to come back, and we were on the money there. But I think Marvel is admitting defeat, like you said.
Mhm.
And now that they've taken a step to go against that defeat, people are giving them shit, of course. But like, I think a lot of people would have been more upset if they just went full steam ahead and was like, nope, the same plan that's not working. We're going to do that. And for example, a lot of people think Jonathan Majors, the whole thing with him is what's causing this. I think that was just a separate like thing that helped their decision. But honestly, the biggest talking point in this decision was just Ant-Man not doing very well.
Yeah.
Ant-Man had a decent opening weekend, but it took a huge second weekend drop, and then it barely made $400 million. And you might be thinking, that's a lot of fucking money. For most movies, yes. For Marvel, and for the marketing they put into that movie, and how this was the kickoff of the new phase of the next big villain, Kang Dynasty's Avengers 5, and it barely makes $400 million, they were not thrilled about that.
No.
They were not thrilled about that at all. And it just showed that their plan was not working with the general audience. People didn't really like Ant-Man 3.
Well, I feel like it also just makes more sense at this. One, Doom is one of your biggest villains in Marvel. And so it does suck, I will say, that he is sort of now this afterthought recovery from Kang. Because I think isn't he the main one of the main antagonists of Secret Wars as well?
Yes, but I think
Is
that's
Doom?
also why they're giving him Doomsday first.
No, yeah, no, exactly. So I mean, it works out because now you're like, oh, well, are we aiming it into Doom for Secret Wars? But where I will give them the bonus of the course correction, and because the biggest thing with Marvel lately, right? The stories here. This story's here. This story's here. This story's here. What are we building toward, right?
Hmm.
So now you're telling me that we have a Fantastic Four movie coming out. We have confirmation from Comic Con that the Fantastic Four are going to appear in both Avengers Doomsday, and Secret Wars.
Hmm.
And your villain for those movies is directly Doctor Doom, the Fantastic Four villain. I think that's a positive trend, and very clearly shows one, confidence in Fantastic Four, and that these characters are going to be really big players in the MCU. Versus if you have Kang's not really tied to anyone directly. Kang's just this being that comes out of nowhere and
Yeah.
is like, I am here to fuck shit up.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm curious what they're going to do with Kang. Because like if they wanted to, they could just completely ignore him and say, "Oh, Loki solved the problem." But at the same time, as a fan, I would like to do something that maybe he was working for Doom, or Doom just straight up murders. It would be a hilarious sequence if it just opens on the Council of Kangs world from the Ant-Man tag and the planet just fucking blows up. They probably won't do that, but it's like you could have done that in like maybe a Deadpool type movie, but like, it's
Galactus just eats them all.
yeah. But like something that I think is a positive here. One, the fact that RDJ wants to do it, like I said. Two, you have McFeely coming back writing it, which to me is a better story than the Russos coming back to direct it.
Mhm.
But three, and this has obviously already gone on the internet and stuff, but it's worth noting. You're now creating a very interesting story where these people have to kill someone who saved their world, who looks like the person who saved their world. Like imagine Tom Holland seeing this Doctor Doom. And I also feel like he's got to kill somebody really big, really early. Like there needs to be
But
a hesitation from one of the characters. Like they hesitate to kill him because he looks like Iron Man. And because they hesitated, someone big dies. Like
but
you gotta
but
have
again,
stakes.
right? The character doesn't take his mask off often. So do you think it's just an RDJ
This is a this is
vocal?
a this is a comic book thing that we're applying,
Yeah.
And if
Mhm.
if he takes his mask off a lot in the movie, oh, what a betrayal. It's not. It's not. Because maybe they do the same Iron Man thing, but it's in Doom's mask, you
Yeah.
know? Like there's
I
so much you can do there.
I think if I agree with what you're saying. I think killing someone big right off the gate would make a big impression, and I think you go for the big. I think it's Hulk.
Oh yeah. Just take him out the science, bro. That's not a bad idea.
Hulk would have that reaction to seeing Tony Stark,
Hmm.
the confusion, and he's a massive, strong player. You know, now you have the thing being introduced, which is kind of similar.
Dude, what if he takes out
And
Hulk and War Machine?
now I have to say War Machine, or
I
I
know he's
guess
your
yeah, then
favorite.
War Machine would also,
Yeah.
because they're not touching Spider Man,
No.
so it has to be one that were closer to him, and
Yeah.
I feel like those two are the most likely choices.
Yeah. And to me, it also not only do you set up that interesting story, but you also set up that like maybe there's a Doom in the 616. Because like we
Mhm.
know this obviously isn't Doom from 616 that Robert Downey Jr. is playing. So
No, and
maybe
it's
we
been
get another.
confirmed Fantastic Four is not 616 either, right?
Yeah, yeah. So one, maybe there's another Doom. But two, um, I think at the end of the day, you have to look at we have a great actor that is being written by a great writer and directors who've made something big in this world before. And to me, those stars align. And look, like I said, I completely understand the criticism. I completely understand the hesitation. I'm not saying anyone's wrong there, but I also think because here, can I tell you what triggered me about the whole response?
Hmm.
People just immediately jumping to, oh, this is creatively lazy. This is a creatively lazy choice. You haven't seen it. It's not out yet. We don't know if it's creatively lazy because nothing has been made. The casting is creatively lazy. Fuck off. The casting was them trying to make a big move to improve themselves. Now, where I'll, step aside. If we watch this movie, both of these movies, and the story is ass, and there's nothing to offer from this casting, then I'll jump up and say that was creatively lazy. But we can't say that now because we haven't fucking watched it. No one has, right? And who knows? People are also saying like, oh, they're doing this and they had such a big build up to Thanos. Thanos was in Guardians of the Galaxy for 30 seconds. and then he was in Infinity War. Now, yes,
Yeah, no, they just
you
need to
you
throw in
built up
a
you built up the Infinity Stones and all that, and
yeah.
you heard him mention, sure, but and he got the post credit scenes, right? You can do that starting now with Doom. You
Yeah.
can do that starting now. You can
You
build
have a
up his
Fantastic
character,
Four movie coming out.
and then in Doomsday, that's the Infinity War. That's the Doom fucking movie where you are like, Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with, but with Doctor Doom, basically. And you
Mhm.
do the whole thing. I basically like those concerns are dumb to me. There are concerns that aren't dumb, like, will this be a satisfying story? Like those are concerns that like I understand. And like I understand like why you would think that. I also think, and this is just a small tangent. I saw an amazing tweet from viewer Annan, who's like he's on film Twitter, and he said the callback possibilities are endless with this. And I was like, dude, he's right. And one of the ones he mentioned is, what if the person who has to defeat the destroyer of timelines, being Doom, is the one holding them together, which is Loki? And you get Tom Hiddleston and Robert Downey Jr., and they do the reverse, where Loki says to Doctor Doom, well, if we can't protect the timeline, you can be damn sure that we'll avenge it. Like, are you telling me you won't get boner chills when you hear that? Like,
I hate you 3000.
oh, I saw that too. Now, here's what I'll say. If that happens, if that happens and it's not in a funny, ironic way, then fuck the MCU. Like Deadpool can say that. No one else can.
Yeah.
But yeah, but like I agree with you. Like it's a very mixed bag kind of thing. I'm leaning positive that this is a good idea, but it could very well end badly. I recognize that. But I think that people aren't thinking about like what does a losing sports team do when they feel like they need to get their shit together? Is they
Deflate their footballs.
yes,
It's
they
the one sports pull I can make.
yes, it was good. But they get their team back together and
Hmm.
they surround themselves with people that make them successful. And they go, we're all together now. Let's do it again. I think it's an interesting idea. Now again,
Fuck it, Hydra Cap.
yes. Again, I'm sad that we're not going to see the Kang story continue because I got to tell you, man, I was hyped for it. I was really excited about it. But look, I think overall it's a good idea, and I think it could end up positive. It could also go horribly. I'm not saying that that's not a possibility, but I think and I understand the knee-jerk reaction,
Hmm.
but I feel like if you just take a deep breath and realize who's doing this, and if Captain America 4, Thunderbolts, and Fantastic Four are as good or better than Deadpool and Wolverine, that hype train is back, and we are smooth sailing. Look, Agatha looks way better than it has any right to be. We know Daredevil's going to be good. Like we're chilling, basically.
Hmm.
If Cat 4 and Thunderbolts are as good as they, can be. And I will,
Thunderbolts asterisk.
yes, Thunderbolts asterisks. And I will use this as a segue to get into the rest of the Hall H that I was able
Hmm.
to see. But before I do that, do you have any final thoughts on the RDJ as Doctor Doom?
Uh, Not really. I guess we'll see. I would be shocked if there's not some sort of cameo in Fantastic Four
Oh,
just to help
I
set
feel like
that up,
there's got to be.
right?
Okay, but can we talk for a second? How sick would it be if Doctor Doom bought Avengers Tower and it was just RDJ again?
That'd be pretty good.
That'd be good. But what I will say, moving on to like the other projects now. Hall
Yeah.
H. I saw
All
some
eight.
shit.
Talk us through it. What do we start with?
So for
Cap?
Marvel, Hall H, well, they opened with having the Deadpool choir come out and like sing the Madonna song Like a Prayer. And they had a bunch
Nice.
of like cosplay dancers. It was really funny. And then they brought out Peter from Deadpool, who did the moderating. And Kevin Feige was obviously there. And the first thing they did was Captain
The
America
real
Brave.
Marvel Jesus.
Yes, and the first thing they did was Captain America: Brave New World. And in the footage, or in the panel, they brought out Anthony Mackie, Tim Blake Nelson. Yeah, yes, thank God they brought him out. That means he's in the movie, boy. Like we
The
did it.
leader was there.
He was there,
I didn't
and
see that. That makes me
yeah,
happy.
and they brought out the new Falcon. The actor's name is leaving me, but he was in Falcon and Winter Soldier. And I'm missing somebody. They eventually brought out Harrison Ford, but that was after the footage.
He said
Uh,
I'm not standing for that long.
but
Oh my God. All the interviews with him already have just
oh
been
yeah, they're great.
great.
But the footage was really interesting. So in the footage, they play a sequence where President Ross is talking to like a group of what looks like United Nations kind of thing, where they do confirm that adamantium is in that celestial from Eternals, and that all the countries are trying to grab it, and that the US is about to successfully grab the adamantium. We figured that was what was happening. Super excited that it is. And Kevin Feige later on stage said, "Do you know what my nerd body felt when I heard Harrison Ford say adamantium?"
It's it's very interesting. One, Danny Ramirez is the actor who's the new
Thank you.
Falcon.
Thank you.
Um, to It's so interesting to me because Falcon and Winter Soldier, right? They went to Madripoor, which is a huge X-Men location. It's so funny that Captain America has become the catalyst for X-Men in the MCU. It's a very weird. I mean, I'm not against it. It's just not what I would have expected
Yeah.
for them to be planting the seeds with.
Yeah. Oh, the person I forgot, Giancarlo Esposito was there, and
Oh
he
yes.
announced that his character is Sidewinder, the king of the Serpent Society. And dude, in the footage was great because they showed that clip of the adamantium, and then they showed President Ross talking to Captain America, saying, "Hey, I want to get the Avengers back together." And Captain America's like, "Well, you made the Sokovia Accords that literally disbanded us. Why do you want us back together?" And he's like, "Well, I'm the president now, and I think that we could really use them for like a military thing." And Captain America's like, "I don't think we should." And that's kind of like the catalyst for some of the problems there.
Mhm.
But Giancarlo Esposito, you can tell, was like hired to kill Captain America. And there's literally a sequence. It's just crazy that they just shot this shit too, like a couple months
Mhm.
ago. But there's a sequence where he's on the like a walkie-talkie or a phone, and he sees Captain America, and he just very cockily says, "Stand by for proof of death." And then he cocks a gun and just starts fucking unloading on Captain America.
Jeez.
So awesome. You get some cool flying action with both Captain America and the new Falcon. You get to see Falcon's new suit. It's the green. It looks great.
Nice.
And um not there wasn't really leader in the footage. You did get a really nice look at Red Hulk, which was sick.
Oh yeah.
Loved it.
Red Harrison Ford.
And it looks just like him.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
And the footage was really good. I was very happy with it. And Harrison Ford came out at the end, and Anthony Mackie made a great joke about Tom Holland, where because they mentioned that like Tom Holland had said like, "Oh, you don't the Falcon doesn't have a movie," and then Anthony Mackie said, "Oh yeah, well I have fucking Harrison Ford, so whatever." And
Fair.
so then that was the Captain America presentation, and then they brought out Thunderbolts. Now Thunderbolts, we got to see like 3.5, almost 4 minutes of it, which
Oh
was,
wow.
and dude, I'm not gonna lie, I know that this is getting buried because of like all the RDJ hype that happened later. Dude, the footage was fucking sick. I went
Yeah.
from being like barely excited for this movie to where I'm really looking forward to it now. The
Oh,
footage was awesome. It was awesome. The action choreography looked amazing, especially with Florence Pugh. And there's a great in the beginning of the footage they show Florence Pugh goes to Alexi's house, the Red Guardian, and when she knocks on the door, Red Guardian's like, "In the instructions, I said to leave it at the door. Please go away." And then she's like, knocks again, and he's like, "I will report you to DoorDash HQ. I swear to God." And she's like, "It's me." And he like quickly like gets himself together, and he's like, "Daughter." But
mhm.
interesting in the footage. Okay,
Is
first
she
of all,
sort of the is she the lead? Is that sort of what they're
yeah,
marketing?
yeah,
Like it's her story. Okay.
yeah. And dude, we got to see a fight sequence with her, Ghost, Taskmaster, and Alexei.
Mhm.
First of all, Ghost's new outfit is sick as fuck. It looks awesome. And there's
Really?
a
What's it?
sequence.
Yeah.
It's a lot more. It's less costumey and more armory,
Okay.
and the colors are a little bit different. It's a bit darker.
Hmm.
Taskmaster also looks great. And dude, there's a sequence where Taskmaster throws a knife, and Ghost teleport phases to catch it and throw it back. Like, dude, it was awesome. And
Nice.
Taskmaster suit also looks great. But then when they're in the middle of fighting, Lewis Pullman comes out, and they're like, "Who the fuck are you?" And he's like, "I'm Bob." They still didn't say he was playing Sentry, by the way, which I found very interesting because you should, if you're gonna do it at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
But um, but anyway, they did the whole thing, and basically the Thunderbolts realized that they were sent on a suicide mission to have Century kill them. Like they all like come to that conclusion that that's what's happened. So
Mhm.
now they're all going to team up to go against the people who sent them on the mission, which is seemingly Val from Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it was U.S. Agent. U.S. Agent was in the fight too,
Oh, okay.
and um, there was an amazing sequence where with Winter Soldier Bucky, he's basically in Congress for what looks like a lot of the movie. But then at the very, very end of the footage, he opens his dishwasher and his arm is in there. And then there's an elevator shot where it opens and all the Thunderbolts are there and Bucky's with them. So it looks like he joins them later in the movie.
I hope he's just like Alec Baldwin in what's the Mission Impossible movie where he's just literally in court the entire time.
Oh, it's either 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, but basically it looks like Bucky's trying to fight Val on the Congress side, and then eventually he's like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna do it on the ass kicking side too."
Mm.
But dude, the footage was really good. It was really great footage, and they still talked about that fucking asterisk that no one is giving up on. But
Oh,
I don't
they didn't reveal it? Ooh, sorry for the
know.
yawn.
And all the Thunderbolts were there on stage. David Harbour came through the crowd in the new Red Guardian suit, which was a little bit of a downgrade to be honest.
No.
But he was in character as Red Guardian. And then when he looks at the stage, he breaks character and goes, "What the hell, guys? We're all supposed to wear costumes. None of you are in costume. This is stupid." And like he like leaves. It was really funny.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, but they were all there. The director was there too. The director for Captain America wasn't there because he had COVID, which sucked.
Mm.
So they had Anthony Mackie like FaceTimed him.
Does
But
Thunderbolts kind of, we were banking like, oh, it's Marvel's Suicide Squad. Is that pretty much what they're going for?
yes, but it looks like what the Ayer cut would have been. Like it looks like a lot
Gotcha.
darker. Like yes, there's still Marvel humor in it, but it looks like a lot
Yeah.
darker and a lot more like grounded, which
Okay.
is probably why they're not marketing Sentries because it's a very not grounded thing to show.
Yeah.
But it looked very good. Like I was really surprised with the footage. But then the best footage of the night, dude, easily Fantastic Four. And they brought out Matt Shackman and he was talking about it. And basically the stuff they shot, they imply that it's not going to be in the actual movie, but it's basically it was like this is like a pre-footage to kind of give you like the tone of what our movie is.
Mhm.
Dude, awesome. Like it was shot in 4:3 as Zack Snyder intended, and it had Pedro Pascal. Anyone who had worries about him playing Mr. Fantastic, you will not have those worries the moment whenever they decide to publicly release this footage.
I had zero.
He speaks like Cary Grant, like he's talking in a transatlantic accent, but it
So,
works. It doesn't sound shitty. Like it sounds perfect. And in the footage, he's in like they're doing that 60s, but it's the future vibe.
yeah.
And he's in a science classroom talking about science, and then none of the kids say anything. So he goes, "Who wants to see something explode?" And they all raise their hands. He's like, "Okay." And then like he like does the thing,
Yeah.
and then it's like documentary NASA footage of like them all getting in spacesuits, and you see Vanessa Kirby, and she's like, "Blah blah blah," and this is my little brother Johnny. Look at him, everybody. And like Joseph Quinn just kind of like looks at the camera like shitty, like he's upset.
Mhm.
And then you get a little bit of Evan Moss-Bachrach. You get the Thing on a dating show, which was really funny.
Good. As
And
you should be.
then like it's basically NASA documentary of them going into space, but it's futuristic 60s. They have the flying Fantastic Four car, which they actually brought to Hall H, and it looked awesome. And then right at the end of the footage, like it did Fantastic Four First Steps, which is a terrible title, but it had
Awful.
but it had Fantastic Four First Steps, and then right as a tag at the end, it looks like you're in the Baxter Building, and you see a giant Galactus who just crouches down and puts his eyes right at the windows. And
Oh
it was
shit.
sick as shit. He looked awesome, dude. He looked
That's
sick.
pretty cool. Very
And
excited for that.
yeah, dude, that was like I could watch that footage on repeat. Like the
Oh man, I
way
hope they release it soon.
it was very WandaVision vibes. What in terms of capturing like basically when they're like, "Oh, this is the tone we're going for," and you're like, "I'm not quite sure what you mean," and then you see WandaVision and you're like, "I know what you mean." Like it felt like
Mm.
that. It's like, "Oh, this is what you're doing. Okay, I get it now." Like that's
Mhm.
what it felt like. And loved the Fantastic Four footage. And then the cast all came out, of course, which was really cool to see. They were all jet lagged as shit. Then they immediately flew back to go start filming. But really awesome that they were there. Really cool stuff. Like they just shot that stuff that we saw like the week before, which is crazy. And it was really great. And then after they did the Fantastic Four stuff, that's when they went to, announcing the Russo brothers and Robert Downey. But interestingly enough, and not surprising, Kevin Feige did the whole, these are the three movies we're releasing next year. These three, no Blade. So Blade inevitably has been delayed to 2026. We just don't know the date yet.
I appreciate the restraint that they also showed because I remember the Comic-Con that you had went to where you went to Hall H. They were like Blade, Moon Knight, She-Hulk, and they
Yeah.
just announced like a so it is
Yeah.
nice to see that sort of
And
restraint
even the
of
one
what
two
they're
years
doing.
ago, that's when they did like Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars that were supposed to come out in the same year because they're fucking madmen.
Yeah.
But yeah, like they definitely changed course. And by the way, when they announced Secret Wars, they treated it as if they never announced it before, and the crowd did not respond. It was so funny. But obviously when they announced Doomsday instead of Kang Dynasty, like that was a big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was an incredible Hall H experience. Loved it. I imagine they'll release most of the Thunderbolts footage as a trailer, like with Captain America when it comes out in February, because I think Thunderbolts comes out in May.
Mhm.
Fantastic Four, they might not release that footage until May with Thunderbolts, but I'm hoping that they release that Hall H stuff like as a pre-teaser because like it was so good. But but yeah, no wait no, Fantastic Four comes out in July, so it's February, May, and July. So yeah.
Oh, they're front loading next year.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get it? I remember last time you went to the Marvel Hall H, you got like a Black Widow cap. Did they give out anything this time?
Oh, I put it away because we're packing, but they gave us the Captain America poster with the Red Hulk holding the shield,
Oh, nice.
and they gave us a fan, like an actual fan from Fantastic Four, but it's packed up. But yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, no, really great stuff. That was the Hall H breakdown, and our thoughts on Robert Downey Jr. And of course, now it's time to move on to the box office.
The box office. Pull up our predictions
Nicholas,
here.
yes, pull those predictions up.
All right. Dalton, you had Deadpool number one. Whoa. Twisters number two. Despicable Me 4, number three. Inside Out 2, number four. Quiet Place Day 1, number five.
Mhm.
I had Deadpool number one, Twisters number two, Despicable Me 4, number three, Inside Out 2, number four, and Long Legs number five. So we just had different fifth place spots.
Yes, and it worked out for you because you were correct, sir.
I've been on a roll. I've gotten like two this past month.
Yeah, you've been doing good. Been doing
Let
good.
me in now.
Dude, I've been pissing Hannah off with that like all week.
Be nice.
It's been amazing. But yeah, let's take a look at the numbers, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right. I know that you purposely didn't look at what Deadpool and Wolverine made.
Mhm.
Do you want to guess?
I'm gonna say that it. I'm gonna say it cracked the 200.
Crack the two? Okay.
I'm gonna go, but barely. I'm gonna go like 202.
202? Okay. These are the final Monday numbers, by the way. We are recording on a Monday. Deadpool and Wolverine opened to $211 million. And it is the highest R-rated opening of all time and the sixth highest straight up opening of all time.
That's insane.
It's crazy. And I know how the editing works on Zoom is it only is on the person who's speaking, but guys, Nick had a great reaction. I wish you could have seen it. Diving into the numbers a little bit more here. Deadpool and Wolverine has now made $444 million worldwide already. The budget's not listed here. I imagine it's around $200 million. So they're already doubled that budget worldwide. Good for them. I think this is a clear shoe in to cross the $1 billion mark. Because the word of mouth and the A cinema score, I'm sure it'll do well next week. And a good sign for box office to come, Twisters came in and made $34 million in its second weekend, dropping 57%. That's basically the exact average drop that you want to have. It now has $220 million worldwide on that budget of 200, so it's at about a 1.1 times the budget back. I don't think it will have any issues crossing that success threshold. Despicable Me 4, which came in third, made $14 million this weekend. And that worldwide total is now at $678 million. Good for Despicable Me on a budget of 100. That's 6.8 times that budget back. Universal and Illumination are
Money in the bank.
money in the bank for sure. Inside Out 2 is now the highest grossing animated film of all time with $1.5 billion at the worldwide box office. Holy shit. It crossed it domestically as well, which is wild. And Longlegs is now at $69 million worldwide. It'll probably cross 70 by the end of the week. It's Neon's highest grossing movie ever, and it might even cross $100 million worldwide. Great for Longlegs.
Good for them.
Quiet Place came in sixth. I was one off on my predictions. It made another, by the way, Inside Out made 8 million, Longlegs made 6.7, and A Quiet Place Day One made 3.1. It's now at $253 million worldwide, so it's slowly moving right along as well. By the way, Fly Me to the Moon in its third week dropped 77% and only made $768,000 last weekend. And it's made a worldwide total of 36 million on a budget of 100. So, shame.
Not great. Not great.
Nah, you could say it's not great. But yeah, that is the breakdown of the box office. Before we do our predictions for next week, do you have anything you want to add about that?
Good for Deadpool and Wolverine, man.
Yeah.
That's tried and true. That's very impressive. It's just gonna cruise to that billion so quickly, especially because it's so well received as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it came out and been, really bad, I think it still would have had a great opening weekend like this, but I think it's just gonna take off, especially it's coasting right now. It has no competition.
Mm-hmm. Well, you say that, buddy. Do you know what comes out this weekend?
Trap.
Look, Trap's not gonna make as much as Deadpool.
I
But
know. Harold and the Purple Crayon.
could you imagine if Trap came out and opened to like $250 million and like broke the record?
What did Inside Out 2 make again this week?
Inside Out 2
Yeah.
made 8.6 million.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out my prediction. That's why. All right. I think I have mine.
Go for it. Let me hear it.
Deadpool and Wolverine number one.
Mm-hmm.
I think Twisters is gonna keep number two.
Okay.
I'm going Trap number three,
Okay.
which might be a risk, but I still feel like Shyamalan's name has some weight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm then gonna go Despicable Me 4.
Okay.
And then I'm booting out Inside Out 2 from the top five, and I'm going Harold and the Purple Crayon.
Oh, so you think Hair on the Purple Crown will open to like what, 5 million, 4 million?
Mm-hmm. Barely. It's gonna be close, but I think it might be able to squeak it.
Okay. Okay. Here's what I'm gonna do.
Hit me with it.
I'm gonna do the same exact thing as you, but I'm gonna put Trap coming in second.
Oh. You think
Reason,
Trap's gonna open upward of 15?
yes. I think the marketing of this movie has been very wide ranging.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the fact they're not doing any press screeners for it at all, which is not a good sign normally, but it's either that or they have the biggest plot twist of the year, and it's M. Night Shyamalan. And I think the fact that people won't know what happens in this movie will actually help its opening weekend rather than hurt it like it normally would. Because I think people are just like, oh, it's the next M. Night Shyamalan. Like, let's go for it, you know?
Yeah.
And while we're here, I'm curious. Let's look at what Knock at the Cabin opened up at.
So just to clarify, you're going Deadpool, Trap, Twisters, Despicable Me, Harold and the Pink Grand.
Yes.
Okay.
So Knock at the Cabin opened to $14 million. And Old, I think that was the one before Knock at the Cabin.
Yeah.
Old, which, let's clarify, came out in 2021, actually opened higher. It opened to 16. And
Hmm.
I think that both, I think Trap has had better marketing and interest than both of those movies.
I
And
would
I
agree
think
with that.
and I think if Twisters makes another 50% drop to around 15, I think Trap could just sneak in there. It's possible.
Hmm.
Um, I'm actually going to make one more change to my predictions. I think Inside Out 2 is going to stay in fifth as well.
Okay.
I think Harold and the Purple Crown is going to flop insanely hard. I think it'll barely crack 1 million,
Oh,
maybe two.
all right.
So it'll be Deadpool, Trap, Twisters, Despicable Me, Inside Out.
Got it. What an interest. We're actually pretty different this week.
Yeah, yeah. I think my prediction on Trap, I think it's going to open at around 20.
Oh, we shall see.
We shall see. And dude, look at the box office for this week, though, the one that we just read. That's good fucking box office, man. We're
It's
doing
really
good.
nice. I mean, it's pretty heavy from one movie, but still,
Yeah, but you got 211 for Deadpool, 34 for Twisters, and 14 for Despicable Me. That's
yeah,
and Despicable Me's in its
solid.
fourth week.
Yeah, no, it's solid.
Yeah, that's very
It is
solid
solid.
post-pandemic numbers. I'm really
Hmm.
excited about that. But yeah, that is the show today, guys. If you want to give your box office predictions, please leave them in the comments below. And if you're right, we'll shout you out on the show. Also, please give your thoughts on Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom. Do you think it's a good idea, bad idea? Why? Also, give your thoughts on the overall Marvel Hall H presentation. I spoke really fast in that period of time. Nicholas, do you have anything that you want to add?
As always, links to our social medias and everything, and the audio version of the show can be found in the description.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.